So these guys are meeting in the middle of winter, nothing to do, probably via sleigh, to have a secret meeting about politics.
You know what Nixon said about that secret meeting?
Welcome to Nice Ashes. Join hosts Mike and Nate for cigars and culture. Let's go beyond the smoke.
What are we smoking today, Nate?
We are smoking the Ave Maria Reconquista, which is fun to say. It's almost as fun as like Taj Mahal or some of those other things that kind of really roll off the tongue.
Foreign sounding,
a little exotic. A little erotic, maybe.
Yeah, we just watched The Great Outdoors. Sarah had never watched The Great Outdoors before, and they had the restaurant, the Potawamak or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Potawamak
or something. And
Potomac, I don't know.
I was looking at it, and I sounded it out because it had probably 6 vowels.
Sure.
But it took me 15 seconds, and I could say it.
Yeah.
But it was a made-up word. They just made up a word.
You can ignore most words in French or most vowels and letters in French. It's completely fine.
This was an Anishinaabe. It appeared to be an Anishinaabe word, and it's like,
Sure.
well, I know how to pronounce these words.
Yeah, this one looks dark and amazing. Like, I'm pretty excited.
Yet again, we are recording on the same day.
What Mike did not do between episodes was refill his lighter.
What Nate didn't do is remind Mike to fill his lighter.
You're right. I orchestrated all of these things to be able to come in with the save with my lighter.
Well, this will be a first time for Nate in his life, but all of the show's problems are in fact his fault and not mine, because it's not a matter of me not being prepared even though we were recording at my own house. It is Nate's fault for not pre-guessing that I was going to fail to do the very bare minimum of being prepared to record a cigar show, which would be having a cutter and a cigar lighter.
Well, he has a cutter, to be fair, so I did at least half of my job. I made sure he had the cutter. I made a huge point to myself and my cat in my basement before coming up here to visit Mike and do this stuff, was to refill, make sure my lighter was completely topped off with lighter fluid. Because I just knew that because I didn't remind Mike, then he would have no reason to think to refill his own lighter. And then I can come in with the save, and I'll be like the Spencer Tracy in the film noir, like, here's your light, babe.
That's right. We spent 2 hours probably between episode recordings.
Just fucking talking around.
Yeah, bullshitting and talking and hanging out. And at no point did we think about recharging my lighter.
Peeing in the snow, that sort of thing.
Yeah, peeing in the snow at least twice.
Getting coffee, whatever.
Coffee, a couple of beers.
Getting our nails did.
Yeah, you know, you gotta have your nails done if you have a salon in the house.
That is true.
That is true. You have a salon, you might as well get her done, you know.
Might as well.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today, Nate?
Well, I don't know. I want to talk a little bit about the cigar first, because the start of this one is much better than the Differencia.
Yeah, the
last one.
Yeah. This is going to be a better cigar.
Yeah, I mean, it feels sturdy and solid in my hand. It tastes good from the get-go.
The band looks very...
Gold foil is always a win.
Century Catholic Church.
Yep, gold foil is always a win.
Very interesting. Reminds me of my childhood, going to large churches with the fancy stuff.
So do we have to go on a crusade after this then? That's my question.
I think we've already been on one. We bought
Purge the heretics?
Yeah, we had something like that. I know that the Somali community might be going through some hard times right now with the Trump administration.
Well, also, that, and also they're knocking down our studio doors. Like, why did you say Minnesota Nice is incompatible with us?
That's what I heard.
We're like, go away. We just want to talk obliquely about this.
That's what I heard. If you hear the dog bark, it's because individuals are coming to knock on the door.
Individuals of unknown origin.
Yeah, individuals of unknown origin.
Speaking of unknown origin, what are we talking about, Mike?
So today we're going to talk about my ancestors.
The Somalis.
Yeah, the Somalis. No. We're going to talk about the Nonpartisan League and the Farmer Labor Party.
Yeah. He kept using these acronyms. He's like, my episode's all about the NLP and DLP or DM, whatever the fucks. And I told Mike, I said, I'm in AA.
That's right.
I'm acronym adverse.
Yep.
And everyone always assumes like I'm an alcoholic when I say that. I don't know why.
It was very cryptic. I was like, yeah, we're going to talk about the NPL and the FLP, blah, 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 blah. And I just kept on going like he knew what the hell I was talking about.
Yep. All I know about is DP and...
There we go. So we're going to start with the Nonpartisan League. Nonpartisan League began in 1914 with the gentleman named Arthur C. Townley. And Arthur C. Townley was a flax farmer and a Socialist Party member.
I feel like flax doesn't get the same kind of fanfare that wheat or soy gets.
Yeah, and I still have flax seed. It's part of my daily routine.
Your cleanse.
Flax is kind of ignored health-wise, but it is good stuff. I get powdered flax.
It's weird that some of these grains, I assume flax is a grain, don't get the... I was just talking yesterday about the big Got Milk campaign, which was not for a specific brand of milk. It was just the dairy farmers
the industry
ganged together and said, hey, we got a lot of boys. We got a fuck ton of milk. How can we get other people to buy our milk from us? Let's do a Got Milk campaign. Anyway, sorry. Go on with your flaxseed magnate.
Yeah. So Townley was kicked out of the Socialist Party because he was too radical. He was too radical for the Socialist Party in 1914.
That is surprising.
Yeah.
How could you be too radical for the Socialist Party?
Yeah, too radical for the Socialist Party who were just about to overthrow Tsarist Russia.
Yeah, we have our missions, but goddamn, this one guy, the flaxseed guy, he is insane.
Right? So February of 1915, remember, 1915, Mr. Townley and a gentleman named Frank B. Wood meet at Mr. Wood's farm in Deering, North Dakota. I have been there.
There is no North Dakota.
There is no North Dakota. But they met in Deering, North Dakota in February of 1915. Pre-electricity, gentlemen. Pre-electricity. Creating the Farmers Nonpartisan League organization.
But that's pre-electricity in North Dakota. I mean, certainly they had electricity in some of the major cities.
They had electricity in major cities. My grandmother told me that they didn't have electricity until after World War II.
Sure.
In the central northern Minnesota area.
Yes.
Certain parts of the country didn't have electricity until the 50s. Yeah. So these guys are meeting in the middle of winter, nothing to do, probably via sleigh, to have a secret meeting about politics.
You know what Nixon said about that secret meeting?
A bunch of faggots worshiping an owl god. It's the gayest thing I've ever seen.
Haru. Okay, so Flaxseed guy
meets with another guy in Deering. In the middle of winter.
Who's maybe slightly interested in flaxseed.
Yeah, these guys are like horses, sleighs, candles.
Clandestine North Dakota meeting. Where can we meet? No one will know where we are.
Yeah,
How about the place that doesn't exist?
Yeah,
North Dakota.
By September of 15, they have a newspaper.
What newspaper did they have?
I don't know. The Nonpartisan League newspaper. I have no fucking idea.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know if it was
newspaper.
Like the Flaxseed Digest or something.
Yeah. The Farmer's Almanac. North Dakota Farmer's Almanac.
North Dakota.
Yeah. So by 1916, the Nonpartisan League had taken control of the Republican Party in North Dakota, and they had a majority of seats in their state legislature. Go ahead.
Sure, my question. Now, Mike, before we started recording, he goes, I have 22 pages of notes, and here I am like stalling and putting him off on tangents. But so in 1915,
yes,
correct me if I'm wrong, Mike.
Yes,
the Republicans of the era were actually
progressives,
Democrats or progressives, right? They were the progressives of today. Yeah. And there's the big flop after the Racine, Wisconsin thing, which we can talk about later. Not hugely important.
Not hugely important. But before Woodrow Wilson and World War I, the Democrats were the social conservative party, and the Republicans were the progressive party.
Yes.
Do not forget that this is right after Teddy Roosevelt and his governmental transformation from America being an isolationist country to being a openly imperialistic country, and also the foundations of the social state that was later stymied in the 50s.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of socialism in America, Social Security, progressive tax system, the Food and Drug Administration. All these things were started around this time, about a century ago. And,
but they're too progressive for the Socialist Party.
And these guys are more progressive than the socialists who just overthrew her in the process of overthrowing Tsarist Russia. So these are a bunch of North Dakota rural farmer fucks who are like, hey,
let's give health care to everyone.
Yeah, we need to make things better.
We want more immigrants here.
Yeah, they were not saying more immigrants
here. We want Somalis.
They were not, they were not saying Dakota. More Somalis, but they were, we need shit to go better. We need to go shit to go better. So in 1916, they take control of the North Dakota Republican Party. The governor of North Dakota in 1916 was an MPLer. And their platform included state ownership of all the elevators, flour mills, cold storage plants, packing plants, state insurance programs, and banks. That was their plan was to take over the entire infrastructure for farming, because North Dakota, of course, at the time, very farm
So basically
heavy.
What Trump is trying to do now.
Sure. Fewer guys in masks. fewer guys in masks, no secret police, no brown shirts.
But again, just like today in 1916, the thick booty Latinas can stay.
Absolutely. You got to get those Scandinavian ladies with the wide hips.
I watched an AI video of Bernie Sanders giving a speech about how he needs the thick booty Latinas to stay, and it was hilarious.
Well, Big Nose Kate was Jewish.
Yeah, that is true.
Something like that.
Yeah, was Big Nose Kate Jewish, and does the Pope shit in the woods?
There we go. So 17, this is, remember, 2 years after this clandestine meeting at a farm in Deering, the Nonpartisan League, who was in control of North Dakota, joined forces with the Farmer Labor Party in Minnesota, and the movement moved to Minnesota.
Probably for the best, as the population here dwarfs that of North Dakota.
Even at the time. Even then. By 18, the Nonpartisan League was in complete control of the North Dakota state government. The governor, Townley, proclaimed a new day for North Dakota. The Minnesota Farmer Labor Party officially organized in 18 and became a separate organization from the NPL. The NPL was growing. They had control in all the Midwestern states, and there were 200,000 official party members by 18.
Is that true? Living party members? Or is that we went and took a walk through the cemetery to register party members?
It is my understanding that a lot of these guys did not speak English as a first language. Most of them were Scandinavian.
Sure.
Shockingly enough. Northern European.
And the way that these things worked back in the day, not that I was there, but from what I understand is the people kind of go around and say, we're the people kind of running things, and you can sign this piece of paper and be cool with us, or you cannot and not be cool with us, which may lead to repercussions down the line.
I think that at that time, the major political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, were very much that way.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, the National Nonpartisan League and the Farmer Labor Party were the local, yokel, hick alternative to that.
Yeah.
Where it's like your neighbor down the street is a member. You go to a party and he talks about the platform, and everybody's like, well, that seems a lot better for me.
Yeah. And you come home with like 15 pieces of Tupperware
and you
that you can never find the lids for.
Which we're going to get into here.
Sure.
So I have numbers. So a membership fee in 1915 was $6, which is the equivalent of $135 today. So 200,000 people gave $135.
I can't imagine paying $135 for anything nowadays.
$135
even Disney Plus.
This is for a magazine membership. Yeah. Largely, these organizations worked as magazines, and they used the funding from the magazine to get their political action. And in 2 years' time, with a $135 subscription, they managed to take over one entire state and spread into Minnesota and the rest of the Midwest.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, we're going to get later into it, preview. They're against Chicago and Minneapolis. That's who these guys were against, because they had some grain magnets, and they're fighting against these fuckers, trying to control their lives. We're going to get into it. The 18,
I am excited.
Yeah, 18. So by 1918, again, 3 years.
Yeah. This was also World War I time.
World War I time. This is coinciding with World War I. The Nonpartisan League controlled the North Dakota state government. The Farmer Labor Party emerged. They had 200,000 members. 1919, end of the war. End of World War I. The industrial program of the Nonpartisan League has been passed. So, in 1919, the Bank of North Dakota was established. They had $2 million investment capital, which is right around $36 million in today's dollars. This is the first and only state bank owned entirely by the state itself. And the goal was to encourage and promote agriculture, commerce, and industry in the state of North Dakota.
Which may or may not exist.
Exactly. The initial ideal of the bank was to free farmers from the dependence of out-of-state banks charging up to 12% interest. 12% interest they were fighting against. 12%. That was usury 100 years ago. 12%.
Yeah.
Look at your own interest rates, gentlemen.
And gentlewomen.
And gentlewomen.
And gentle they-thems.
They established the North Dakota Mill and Elevator Association. They established a home building association. They established a hail insurance program. they established an industrial commission to oversee state businesses. And this commission had the governor, the attorney general, and the agricultural commissioner.
So they're fighting against 12% interest rates.
They're fighting against 12% interest rates.
What were their interest rates they were giving out?
We're going to get into that.
Okay.
Because the North Dakota State Bank is still around.
Okay, sure.
Now, again, this is 4 years, 1919. 4 years after this clandestine meeting of these two fucking farmers who didn't even speak English.
The two happy sleigh riders together.
Yeah, the two happy sleigh riders. They had passed workman compensation laws. They reduced the work hours for women. They established benefits for the coal miners. Remember, North Dakota is a coal state.
These guys sound terrible, dude.
They're awful.
Like workers' compensation. Like what? Why? Can't we just exploit everybody?
When the Hicks in West Virginia were in their mines working for the company store, the yokels, my ancestors, our ancestors, were in North Dakota passing labor laws to protect coal miners.
Yeah.
Because they could see what was going on in West Virginia.
And you know what West Virginia ended up getting? Oxycontin. By the Sackler family.
Oxycontin by the Sackler family. That's exactly right. And they passed a law. Yeah. This is big at the time. They limited the ability of the federal government to use an injunction during labor disputes in the state. Sure. This is at the end of the war.
Yep.
They had used the military against our own people during labor disputes in the big cities.
Yep.
And North Dakota passed a law banning the federal government from putting troops on the ground.
That's why we don't hear about, like, modern time today, we don't hear about ICE raids in North Dakota. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure other reasons as well.
So, June 26, 1919, this is a big one. They passed the public measure, NPL, put the public measure into the Constitution, and they passed via public measure the 7 major reforms that they put in place, one of which was the Bank of North Dakota.
Okay. I mean, these guys seem, and maybe we'll get into this later, Mike, but with the short time frame of all of this stuff happening and the slew of successes that are happening, they are either crazy organized or they had the exact right idea at the exact right time, and everything kind of fell into place. And it might be a mix of the two.
I think it was the right place at the right time, and you have these Norwegian, we're going to say Norwegian farmers, but realistically they're Northern European, Danish, German, Norwegian, Swedish, these Northern European types that are all on the same page culturally.
Well, and locally. They're efficient.
They're highly efficient. They're highly driven.
Yep. Motivated.
And they know what they want. And there's not a lot of them, and they're all the same.
Yep.
And they all agree. We need this because of this.
Yep.
Very simple to understand. They're not talking about extraneous issues. They're talking hard economics.
Yep.
We need this because of this. We need to control our own banking system because we're getting loans from Chicago at 15%, and we need to limit our exposure.
The other thing too, Mike, is at the early turn of the century there, 1915, 19, and so on, radio was taking off, and you could get national news a lot quicker than you used to waiting for the Pony Express or whatever to bring the newspaper in. You're not months behind anymore. You can know exactly what's happening, let's say within a week's time or a month's time, what's happening in West Virginia. Like you have these reports potentially available to you.
Instantly. Coincidentally, these guys happen to exist within a technological revolution at the start of a technological revolution. I'm not saying there's any parallel to today. What I'm saying is that they were on the brink of a technological revolution. These guys are not technology dudes. They're old school dudes.
But they embraced the information that they had.
The information
age. Or the availability to information that would help dictate their plan.
Townsley was not some techno whiz, but I'm going to guess that Townsley had enough economic resources for Townsley's son or daughter.
Yeah. Or somebody close to them.
Or somebody close to them to be skilled enough with the tech to be able to assist them.
Yeah. And that's another important thing, and it's kind of a recurring theme, I hope, on our podcast is we talk about diversity a lot, and sometimes it's very bad and detrimental, and sometimes it's very good. But the successful people tend to find people to fill the gaps that they presume themselves to have. So if I'm not good at judging a good cigar, then I am buddies with Mike, who knows all about cigars. And if Mike doesn't know about audio editing, then he's friends with me because then that's what I do. So you find these kind of like mutually reciprocal relationships and successful people who have the money and the resources, it's not difficult to find or attract people with expertise in areas where you yourself are lacking to help put forward your agenda.
This is old school thinking. We're
Yes.
introducing the traditional way to think about problems in life.
Yes.
I need to remodel the bathroom in my basement because I have water damage. I don't know anything about plumbing.
I know a
But
guy
I
who
know
does.
2 guys. One for sure is going to be able to help me
Yeah.
and willing to help me for cheap to be able to make the bathroom of my dreams. Now, if we expand that, I may know a few things about electricity that this particular gentleman
Yes.
may not know. And I am not going to pat myself on the back, but there's nothing that electricity can do that I cannot make happen. Period.
Yeah,
I can
electricity
make it happen.
hurt me once, and Mike hurt me once too. So
Yeah, there we
it's,
go. If it involves electricity, I can make it happen for next to nothing as far as product cost. The cost is in intellectual capital, but I control my own intellectual capital.
Well, we talked about
So-
this. What is it? It's social equity or something.
Yes,
where
exactly.
and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It can sound kind of cold and callous and bad, but I know certain things about things that a lot of people that I talk to don't know about. Mike knows a lot of things that I don't know about, and listener Keith. Guest Keith, he was on once.
Yeah.
Knows a lot about things that I don't know about either.
Or me. He knows things that neither one of us have any idea at all. I fully acknowledge.
Yes.
Keith knows everything. I know nothing.
But the point is we have a network where we can each fill gaps to, assist each other in an increasingly
mutually beneficial relationship.
Yeah, a mutually beneficial relationship, but in an increasingly expensive economy to resolve some of these problems where some of us have certain expertises in different areas that can lower those costs.
Yes, you lower the cost to physical production, you eliminate the intellectual cost, which is the majority of cost at this moment in time.
And it
usually is
fair trade kind of
fair
thing
trade
where we recognize other people are better at things than we are.
Yes.
And then you work with those and befriend those people. Not that that's the ultimate goal. I mean, Mike and I didn't befriend each other so that we could rewire things, or I could,
reprogram
do an audio,
my house.
Yeah, redo an audio edit of Mike snoring one night or something, right? Like put a dubstep mix out of.
Yes, but between Nate and I, we can get, let's say, 1 unit of production done. Between Nate, Keith, and I, we can get 3 units of production done. Between Nate, Keith, and I, and Chris, friend of the show, we can get 7 units of production done.
Yeah.
So now we've increased a magnitude of
kind
1
of like
between
exponentially,
2 to a magnitude of 7 between 4.
Yeah.
And all it takes is a little bit of coordination. And that's what these old timers were doing.
Yeah, and they understood that.
They understood that. Yeah. And they were just a bunch of hicks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were real people. They weren't
real human beings
TikTok
that existed
influencers. You know what I mean? They weren't necessarily, they were out for themselves, but they weren't out for themselves.
They were out for everybody.
To the detriment of other things.
Yes.
They understood that their ego may potentially have to take what we would consider today, or an influencer might consider today, an ego hit or an ego loss by admitting you don't know something in order to accomplish what they wanted.
Yeah. You don't get major legislative change like the Bank of North Dakota, the only bank in the entire country owned by a state, in 4 fucking years without serious compromise and serious work. This is serious work.
Compromise, other dealings, what have you. I mean, obviously, there's things people can do to help other people or hinder other people. And it comes down to kind of the cost analysis benefit,
and
right?
Meanwhile, these guys are running farms.
Yeah.
They're all running farms and have families.
Yeah.
And have everything else.
And fucking travel took forever back then because goddamn, they didn't have automobiles. They were doing sleigh ride meetups at the crossroads.
I met up with Nate and it was like a sleigh ride because of how slow I had to go due to weather.
Yeah, but it was still like 10 times faster than flaxseed magnate guy meeting.
If I had to walk there with my dog, it would have taken me all day.
Yeah. I mean, it's like what? I don't know. It was like a 3-mile pickup.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes.
You walk what? The average human walks like 3 miles an hour. So it would have taken at least an hour to get there, an hour to get back. And that's with conditions being really good. And if conditions were not really good, it would take longer.
Right.
Sleigh ride
I was complaining in my brain because a 5-minute drive took me 10 or 15 due to road conditions.
Which is nothing in 1919, right? Like their travel time is like you want to go from one town to another. That's like
you're going there, you're staying in a hotel. You're not staying there for a minute.
You're not going for one meeting and then driving back home.
No, you're not driving an hour and a half.
The horses have to rest.
Yeah. You're not doing 3 hours round trip and 150 miles.
Yeah.
So, on to the decline. By 1920, 5 years later, they're already declining. They've hit their peak. 1920, North Dakota went into an economic collapse. Grain prices fell. They
Couldn't have been the Great Depression. Could it
drought.
have been?
Yeah, the Great Depression started early.
Yeah. Bit of an economic downturn.
Yeah, drought began in 1920.
Yeah.
1921, there was a recall. Everything kind of started to fall apart. More North Dakota banks closed in 1921 than any other year in history. The Nonpartisan League lost control.
Okay.
In 1922, one of the big operations that they had, the state mill and elevator in Grand Forks was completed. That elevator is still in operation today.
Okay.
So 100 and change years later,
Yeah.
the grain elevator these guys built, one of the last big things that they did,
Yep.
still around.
All because of a sleigh ride meetup.
After 1922, they became non-actors. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party kind of took over. By 1950, the Nonpartisan League had broken up into the Insurgents and the Old Guard, which basically became down to Democrats and Republicans.
Yep.
In 1952, under Adlai Stevenson, the liberal side of the Nonpartisan League completely collapsed. And by 1956, the Nonpartisan League completely voted to end itself. The Republican version, the more conservative version, reformed in 56, and they were against the Taft-Hartley Act, which was a World War II era legislation.
That was a big one. I mean, I remember it from school.
Yeah.
I don't remember
and
specifics.
they were against the land tax. They were against property tax.
Yeah.
Not particularly surprising, but by the 1950s, the Nonpartisan League was over. They really had a 5-year sunset. However, that 5-year sunset the things they did are still in action today. North Dakota, in a lot of ways, is a thought leader in the progressive space.
Yeah.
North Dakotans don't think of themselves as being particularly progressive,
Yeah.
but they are. In reality, North Dakota is the most progressive state economically, because North Dakota is for the North Dakotans. And even today in their tax policy with oil development, they are not as reinvestment oriented as the people there want them to be.
Okay.
Because the Republican National Party has a lot more control than they should have.
Yeah.
But they reinvest more of their oil proceeds than you would think.
Yeah, certainly more than Texas, I can imagine.
Certainly more than Texas. They have had long-term repercussions because of this socialist background of the native inhabitants. People that I am from these people. I am of these Northern European radical Western frontiersmen type of thing.
Yeah.
So on to the Farmer Labor Party. The Farmer Labor Party was formed in 1918. There were labor movements in Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Ohio that combined with the Nonpartisan League in North Dakota, who was already in control, and the Farmer Labor Party officially formed. In the election of November 1919, the Labor Party had a convention in Chicago, and they had multiple state organizations. The party had a big convention in 1920. They're growing. They're not really doing a whole lot, but they have multiple trade unions and farmer organizations and planning organizations all combining. The Labor Party renamed itself to the Farmer Labor Party in 20. They nominated a person for president. They received just shy of 300,000 votes in 19 states, and they were growing. In 22, they grew even more. Haven't really done a whole lot. In 22, they'll continue to grow. Not a whole lot. The Nonpartisan League in the early era here was really taking the forefront.
Yeah. Should we do a cigar check, Mike?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through, a little bit less.
Yeah. I am about halfway through.
What do you think? Good.
You know what? I'm really liking this one. I don't think we did like initial thoughts even, but like the first few puffs, it had the flavor profile I expected from the looks of the stick. Never judge a cigar by its wrapper, I guess. But this one, it delivered on everything that I thought it would be. I mean, I've been excited about this one because the label we mentioned at top, like it's very, I don't know, it's that kind of, if your heritage is anywhere near Europe, this label will speak to you in a sense where, or if you like Arthurian legend or things of that nature, this is very much like
the Stick of Destiny.
The Stick of Destiny.
Delicious.
It is very delicious.
It's a dark horse because they're cheap. You can get these in packs.
Okay.
You can get they're like packs of 20s.
Sure.
And you get this brand.
Yep.
And 5 different cigar styles. And we've smoked other brands out of this pack.
Yeah.
And they are exceptionally good for the price.
Yes.
I believe that you can get a pack of these for $50 for 20 cigars.
That is incredible.
Now. incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible
Yeah.
deal. And right now we're talking Black Friday deals.
Yep.
We're recording this on Black Friday, of course. Traditional, those who have listened to the show for a few years.
Yes.
This is one of these marathon sessions where I'm sure a little bit later we're going to get a little sloppy.
Yeah. Hopefully for our finale, but I hope it's not our season 1 finale where it was like 3 hours of audio. I had to cut down to 1 hour.
Yeah, we have twice as much non-recording as we have recording.
We're
not sitting in the lounge chairs.
Get off on tangents.
Last year we sat in the lounge chairs and we got really more into lounge mode than we were in the recording mode. Yeah.
Well, in season 1, we didn't have the spice rack, and so we would have had like a 2-hour long spice rack episode plus the 1 hour of actual like episode content. So, and we've we've self-managed our medication while we record.
We're dealing.
better.
We're dealing.
So, for you, the listener, Keith.
For you, the listener. Yeah. The only listener that we care about. It's a lot better for you. It'd be better if you were here.
Yes.
Keith might even be in town.
He might be.
In town being
Wherever,
regional. He's within an hour. He's within an hour, unlike the usual 2 hour.
Everyone is within an hour if you're John Titer.
Well, time and space is relative.
Indeed.
So, in 1924, the Farmer Labor Party unsuccessfully ran for the governorship of Minnesota. They were kind of a non-factor. They were the sister organization of the Nonpartisan League, who was very successful in the state of North Dakota. 1930. Anybody know what happened in 1929? 1930, the Farmer Labor Party won the governorship of Minnesota. It was a coalition of farmers, labor, aka mining, and steel, and small business. So, can you imagine, dear listener, 100 years ago, farmers, laborers, and small business people were all on the same page.
What's that
almost
even like?
Small business interest and labor interest are the same interest, and that anything that tells you that they're not is an illusion.
Amazon.
Weird. So 32, Olson's reelected. The Farmer Labor Party officially gets connected with Franklin Roosevelt. They start to affect New Deal legislation. In 1933, Depression relief hits. The farmer labor policies for progressive income tax, an old age pension, and unemployment relief all become economic reality through the national process. The Farmer Labor Party did not succeed statewide, but they did achieve national changes through long-term pressure, right? Remember that the Nonpartisan League by the end of the 20s was done. The Farmer Labor Party picked up in the 30s, and they had taken over seats and they had taken over legislative victories, but they had not gotten any actual policy passed. By the mid-30s, a lot of their policies were being enacted by the Democratic Party nationally through the New Deal.
Yeah. Well, let's for a minute here, Mike.
Yes.
I know you have, 20 pages left to go, but we talk about sometimes on the show here, we talk about, the Dune kind of wheels within wheels. We talk about the instant gratification of, the Instagram, TikTok era. And you've got the flaxseed barons who within, 4 years achieved a fuck ton of success, which
have repercussions to this day.
Day. But 4 years... If you're Mike and my age, 4 years is almost nothing. I mean, that's your high school stint. That's your college stint. I mean, that's not a huge investment to get a lot of these kind of big changes happening. And then you have this other party who didn't have success initially, but over time and through perseverance had successes and things were picked up, not necessarily attributed to them, perhaps in a
20-year time period, 20 years or so from the formation of this Nonpartisan League. They're getting real national change along their political design.
Which is not quick in terms of modern day quickness, when you can go on your phone and order a pizza and have it 20 minutes later. But for the era when you didn't have internet and you didn't have real-time newscasts and you didn't have these things, that is an incredibly quick time.
Majority of people in this region did not have electricity
I
1934.
Understand that, but I mean, these are people with none of the technological advances that we have today.
No.
And they're getting their dreams realized within 20 years.
Within 20 years, they are getting real long-term reforms that we still benefit from today.
And people today get upset when they say something on TikTok and it doesn't come true by the end of the week. That's not what success looks like. Success doesn't happen in 1 week. It's 1 week of doing the work to achieve the goal 52 times or 177 times, like however long it takes to achieve the goal.
I'm guessing that Farmer John's wife wasn't nagging him because he didn't get the fucking state bank started in a day.
Maybe not. I mean, they had different goals and things back then. Whereas now you have to be a modern man, you have to be a modern doer, but you also have to be a modern emotional support being. But then women will talk about man keeping, but that's not the point of the episode. So,
well, man keeping is a full-time job, Nate. I'm
I
not sure
guess
if you knew
so.
that.
I'm such a finicky bitch. I can't possibly be maintained.
Keeping a man well-maintained, that's a full-time job, really.
I mean, maybe with the ear hair and nose hair, but I mean, outside of that, just give me a place to sleep.
Nate's
and I'm
beard is much
happy.
better maintained than mine is, I can tell you. It is tight. It is tight. So, back to our timeline. By 1934, Governor Olson was elected to a third term, not unlike other politicians who were popular at the time. He self-declared himself a farmer labor radical. Remember, right now, the European families are being slaughtered wholesale, and now we have a governor in the state of Minnesota who calls himself a radical. Also, this happens to coincide with a trucker strike, this is a big downer. The radical governor put down with 4,000 armed guards. He went and slaughtered some fucking truckers. So even 100 years ago, our ideals are being compromised by our elected officials.
Yeah.
Weird. I know that there's no trucker strikes that have happened within recent memory, Canadian trucker strike at the fucking border.
None. Or railroad.
Yeah, or the trucker protests that went across the entire country in a big convoy.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mike. That's Fantasyland.
Yeah. That didn't happen. You didn't have a 2,000 trucker train across the entire country 5 years ago. Nothing like that ever happened.
Ancient history, Mike. Ancient history.
Ancient history. There we go. In 1935, this is how far back this goes, gentlemen. 1935, Ernest Lundeen, sounds real foreign, introduces, in addition to Social Security, to include farm and domestic workers. Almost like they had holes in the program even when they started that they needed to address immediately. And they did. I know my grandmother, she gets Social Security, and she never had a job in her entire life.
Yeah.
She's 92. She collects Social Security.
Yep.
She was a homemaker her entire life. At 92, she still collects Social Security.
Yep.
Never put a dime in.
Damn North Dakotans.
Raising those 8 kids and supporting a husband who owned a contracting company and all those contributions to her family and society were paid off in Social Security because of these changes.
But male privilege, Mike.
Well, right. Male privilege. Right. My grandfather died at 68 years old of a heart attack, and my grandma is 92.
Yeah.
Not like the stress killed him.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
Male privilege isn't going to go mine itself.
Right. We don't need to get into details.
No.
So by 1936, the Farmer Labor Party had 6 to 9 Minnesota congressional seats. Minnesota only has 10 now. So the percentage countrywide, Minnesota's pretty much been stable population for 100 years.
Yep. Now, I wanted to mention real quick, because I just peeled off my label for this cigar. And this is a very minor thing in terms of most people might not even notice this. But on the label here, usually when you peel off a label on a cigar, the edge that gets peeled off is straight cut. Now, this one mimics the cross here on the label design. So they took time or set up their cutter to do a custom cut. And it's a fairly, what I would consider a complex cut, because you've got these little starburst points. The picture is on the Instagram, but it is a very nice touch.
The label is very nice.
The label is very nice.
Very nice.
They did spend the extra time to custom cut this flap that gets kind of glued down to the straight cut edge.
And they had a second band.
They do have a second band, and that one's straight cut. But again, it's a very appealing package, where the last episode, that cigar was not an appealing package at all. It was a somewhat decent smoke. This one is, I don't know how much more expensive than the last one, but we're probably, with the package deal, we're still probably talking sub $10. Looks like maybe sub $5.
We're sub $5 for the cigar and bundle. However, even the bundle price is $3 3 times as much, I would say. Safely, you could say. 3 to 4 times. It is $4 and change per cigar for this if you order it online. So you can get pretty good sticks for that sub $5 if you're going to order them in bulk. Which, again,
and wait for internet deals too.
Yeah, we wait for internet deals. This goes back to the core of the show. I truly believe that for $5 or less, you can get a good cigar. And we're here to try these cigars for the listeners so that you can get a good deal. And these Ave Marias so far, I think that this is a good deal. Way better deal than some of the cheaper options. So, on to the Farmer Labor Party. As we discussed, 6 of 9 congresspersons from the state of Minnesota were Farmer Labor Party, and we currently have 10, pretty stable. Membership peaks out at about 40,000 active members. 1936, Floyd Olson dies of stomach cancer at the age of 44. The great hero is dead. The Farmer Labor Party dissolves, and they have a new governor.
Jesse the Body Ventura. No.
Right. So, Farmer Labor Party. Again, we say this is a full 20 years after the Nonpartisan League.
Sure.
But in Minnesota, the Farmer Labor Party, from 1930 to 36, so in a 6-year period, they achieved these goals. And this is, again, 20 full years after these yahoos met out in a farm in Deering.
Which is still crazy accelerated timeline for achieving goals you set out. I mean, I've seen the story. There was somebody or a couple that was trying to replant a rainforest somewhere in South America, and they planted like millions of trees back when they were both early 20s. And then there's a picture of them with the barren landscape in their early 20s, and a picture of them when they're in their 70s or 80s, and it's all a lush forest. Like, a lot of these things take a lot of time, and a lot more time than the modern generation gives credit to or believes in. And you've got this, to me, this seems super accelerated. 6 years, 20 years, these are very quick timelines.
I watched a documentary about a couple that owned a tract of land on the edge of national forest land in Oregon, and they spent their entire lives out there. This woman, the woman of the couple,
sure.
This couple was there for their entire lives, but this woman was still alive. The husband had been dead. And they had farmed this land for 50 years. As a couple.
Yeah.
And their forest land was more lush and productive than the national forest land. And they started with nothing.
Yeah.
So it was a lifetime effort. Yes. However, they ended with supreme forest on the edge of national forest land that was in production. They were actively logging.
Yeah.
They were regeneratively logging this land. It did take a lifetime.
Yeah.
However, they passed on a regenerative, active forestry situation.
Yeah.
And that included hunting.
Yeah.
They hunted for their own food. These were hippie types. And they, of course, used science and technology.
True hippie types. You've got the quasi-hippies who are only interested in the free love and free drugs. And then you've got the other hippies that maybe like the free love and free drugs, but more importantly is, replenishing what you take, managing things smartly.
That's a good point. They weren't into free love and free drugs. Obviously, they were a married couple for their entire lives. There's not a lot of free love and free drugs going on if you're going to be a successful, happy person for your lifetime.
Yes.
They were into regenerative agriculture, giving back to the land, and they had lived and sustained on the land their entire lives.
Yes.
Which meant eating bear, eating deer, growing their own food, having a forest that sustained them economically for their lifetime, which is pretty impressive.
Was a benefit to the rest of the animals
they had a team of
beings and things. Yes.
They had a team of employees, all living happy lives. Big difference. That's the things we're talking about here. These men and women we're talking about, you've never heard their names.
Yeah.
Potentially you have if you grew up in the Midwest and you happen to have a political education. This is what I went to college for.
Yeah.
I learned about these guys through college and through my study.
And the big difference, I think, Mike, is the people that we're talking about in this episode were doing these things for reasons bigger than their egos.
Yes.
They weren't necessarily passing the, flaxseed magnate bill. They were passing other things or working on other things. It wasn't to immortalize the people
Floyd Olson
doing it.
Didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you
getting
remembered
credit.
Floyd Olson's name. Or, I'm going to go back and hopefully I can refine myself on my notes.
Yeah.
The real hero.
Terrible with names.
Arthur C. Townley.
Yep, Townley.
And his buddy, Frank Wood from Deering.
Yes.
Are the catalyst. A single meeting between two farmers
Yes.
is the catalyst
Two like-minded individuals.
for all this change. Two like-minded individuals. Undoubtedly, this is part of the unspoken history that we're talking about recently, all this progressive political change. Their wives and their families. These two gentlemen and their families got this together. And they were extremely family-oriented people. You have to be to succeed in this world, family-oriented. You must be this way.
Yes.
It's the only way to live in the modern world. It was the only way to live in the modern world 100 years ago, and it's more so today. You have to use your resources. You have to use your friends and family. You have to have vision and work together for change. And you can achieve it. That's one of the keys to this.
Yes.
We're going to continue on. We're going to go to the key policy achievements of the Farmer Labor Party.
Sure.
And this starts in 1930. So now we're a full 15 years, 15 to 21 years after this initial meeting. These are the long-term consequences in the state of Minnesota that we're about to see. So Minnesota has an independent income tax system that is only in the state of Minnesota do we have the income tax system that we have. Minnesota has a progressive income tax. We have a unique income tax situation. My functional income tax rate is about 2% right now. My functional income tax rate the last year I paid before I switched to being a North Dakota resident was 7%. So how much you make determines a lot and how much asset you have. It's not how much you make, it's how much asset. When I was making a lot of money and I had no assets, I couldn't deduct. So I was paying 7%.
Yep.
Now I have a lot more assets. I'm making much less, but I also have a lot more assets. I functionally pay about 2%.
Yep.
That is the progressive scale. We have a true progressive scale in Minnesota. They started this in the 1930s. And by the way, Minnesota has great roads. We have great everything. We have the best education. We have the best road system. We have the best infrastructure system. You do not functionally have a concern about bad water. Right now, the state of Minnesota is actively replacing every lead pipe underground. You know what it's not on? The national news. Every city in this state is replacing its underground systems, both electric, water, everything. We're updating our entire grid to the year 2025. We are going to be ready for the future. By 2030, we will be ready for the next century actively through our own tax dollars outside of the state federal government.
Yes.
We internally are replacing our own infrastructure actively right now.
Yep.
And a lot of people outside of the state of Minnesota, even people in the state of Minnesota who are not actively directly involved with it, don't realize that infrastructure in the state of Minnesota is being modernized right now. And it goes back 100 years. The reason why Minnesota can pay for infrastructure improvement today is because we've had a progressive income tax in the state for 100 years. And it's because people like me have had to pay 7%.
And outside of a few keggers at the state capitol, let's not forget, I feel like Minnesota has done a pretty decent job of allocating those tax dollars where they need to be allocated.
We have a 75% voter rate last election cycle. We'll see what it is right now, but we have a very high percentage of people who vote. And that means that though our state does a lot of things we don't agree with, there's a lot of corruption issues going on in Minneapolis right now, especially with the Somali community and the governor's office. We still are reinvesting in ourselves.
Yeah.
And people don't even know the city of Duluth is replacing every pipe in the ground.
Yeah.
They're replacing every electrical pipe. They're replacing every water pipe. They're replacing 100% of all underground infrastructure. Every city in the state of Minnesota, small or large, if you live in a town in Minnesota and there's a state highway, we're replacing everything underground actively with tax dollar. And people have to pay out of pocket. But you, individual, if you were listening and you were in the state of Minnesota and you had to pay, let's say, $10,000 as a part of your city project, imagine how much money is being spent for the whole city. That's coming out of the state coffer.
Yeah.
That's coming out of my tax dollar. And I support it. I want everybody. I don't live in a city. I live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yep.
No one's replacing. I don't have internet access at my house. I had to pay for 2 internet accesses at my home out of pocket myself. And if you live in a town, that's paid for out of tax. I don't get that luxury. I had to pay for it out of pocket. I have the luxury of doing that because of my income, right? I'm not trying to brag saying,
well,
I had 7% income.
You made
blah, blah,
choices to
I made choices over a lifetime.
Right, yeah.
I made choices over a lifetime to be able to have the income that I have.
The same as these two fellows did.
The same as these two gentlemen did. They made choices. They made sacrifices. Their family made sacrifices. And you know what? We're reaping the benefits. And we're not even done listing the benefits. We already have a list of benefits that are better than any government we've had in my lifetime.
Yeah, or even our parents' lifetime.
Or even my parents' lifetime. Absolutely.
Yeah.
JFK's a bitch by comparison to Townsley and Floyd here. Like these guys achieved stuff.
Yeah, I understand people like JFK, but goddamn,
he didn't do shit.
He was a philanderer.
He was a philanderer piece of shit who was killed by Israel or other government influences,
whatever,
of the era that are similar to the mafia or Israel or whatever.
Ask MTG.
Yeah,
she knows.
Yeah, ask MTG. She got shown a fucking video of the Charlie Kirk assassination
of something
from the lens of the gun. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I remember when Mike initially texted me and he was like, I can't believe, Marjorie Taylor Greene must have been shown the JFK shooting from the perspective of the gun. And I said, what are you talking about? She was shown the Kirk shooting.
Yeah.
And that's probably more realistic.
That's probably more realistic.
I saw a meme, incidentally, where there was a picture of Jesus hugging from behind Charlie Kirk. And the caption was, Jesus tried to save Charlie Kirk from the bullet, but he already had a hole in his hand.
There we go. So Minnesota policy specifically, because we like nationally, I think the majority of our listeners all the listeners I know outside of Simha, they're regional. So they know a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and you could argue that Chicago is regional.
Chicago is regional, but it's...
I mean, they fought.
Chicago's very regional.
That's what these two people were doing, was fighting against Chicago.
Chicago is part of our regional politics, but in the current paradigm, Chicago feels is different than Minneapolis. So, and Minneapolis feels is different than fucking Duluth or Fargo. Or Jamestown, or Minot.
Yep, or Ames, Iowa, or Des Moines, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
They're all...
Yeah, Minneapolis feels it's better than Winnebago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they feel internally like Winnebago is garbage, Minneapolis is great.
Yeah.
Even though the people living on the shore of Winnebagoish are just as much a part of our economy as the people living in New York City.
Yeah.
We just don't consider it functional.
Yeah.
But this is what we're talking about. Like, local, rural fucks like us are change, and we can make change.
Can be changed.
We're way more capable of making the change because we don't have bullshit to deal with.
Yep.
I'm not dealing with DoorDash. There ain't no DoorDasher coming to my door. There ain't nobody coming to my door. Fucking UPS man had to walk his package down my driveway 2 days ago because his truck couldn't get to my house.
Yep.
Fucking truck, it was plowed. But his truck couldn't get here because the tires aren't good enough.
Yep.
Like, we're still living in this world where, despite all this technological advancement, we still have snow.
Well, you've got the corporate efficiency model, which is incompatible with the rural reality model. So you can have these big trucks that can carry lots of packages to lots of places, but they can't do it if the road conditions are less than on a sunny summer day.
Right. Yeah. The two UPS guys who I both knew, they were talking to the dog. The dog talked to them very aggressively.
Yes.
Scared the shit out of one of them, by the way. But they hand delivered a package with a dolly down the driveway.
Yeah.
Because the truck, even though it was plowed, couldn't make it out. They knew.
Yeah, well,
the tire wasn't good
to
enough.
the extent, right, it's plowed and it's fine for somebody who knows what they're doing and has the appropriate vehicle for this area in this time of season. But again, the corporate efficiency where they don't want to pay for snow tires. They don't want to pay for a different vehicle that can work in the snow. The driver then has at least the driver has the autonomy to, instead of saying, because down where I live in the Twin Cities, if they can't deliver it, they just ship it, send it, drop it off back at the FedEx or UPS hub and send me an email and say, you have to come pick this up between our working hours. And that's the end of it. So your drivers here at least have the autonomy to decide, do I want to inconvenience Mike and put this back to the UPS hub so then he has to go and take time out of his day to go find this, or can I just walk it down the driveway even though I know my truck can't make it? So
yeah, literally their truck couldn't make it. So two of them with a dolly braved the cold and the snow and my vicious guard dog who scared the shit out of them.
The real MVP.
The real MVP is my dog because she warned me that the dangerous UPS guys were coming.
Yeah. Oh no, it's my new package.
What I'm trying to get at is that the world that these guys lived in is still the world we live in now. You got to ignore the noise.
It's not too terribly different.
It's not terribly different.
For a majority of Americans, I believe it's not terribly different.
No. For huge swaths of the country.
And the big cities, it's drastically different.
The cityites, the answer is not coming from a cityite. No. The answer is not coming from a cityite. The answer is coming from rural yokels like me. It's one of my people.
Yep.
It's one of me. One of us.
Yeah.
One of us is going to come up with the solution because we have the resources to do it.
And I'm an Eagle Scout, and I grew up in a very small rural area, and I have a lot of skills that even surprise my wife sometimes. She's like, why didn't you ever tell me that you knew how to do this? And it's not, our mentality is not to be boastful. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and list out all of the things I can do that somebody who has not grown up in the same circumstances or similar circumstances as me can't do. But I'll tell you, if shit hits the fan, I am probably calling Mike. I am most likely not talking to one of my neighbors in the cities.
Right. And Chris, friend of the show, guest of the show, shit hits the fan. Chris come to me. I could go to him. He's got a very nice place.
Yeah.
But he's better off coming to me. I got a good living situation.
Yep.
I figured it out by circumstance and planning mixture, of course. Just like the gentleman we're talking about. They had the right circumstances and they had the right planning.
Yep.
And that's what we're talking about.
They had enough financial backing to realize a lot of their goals.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean,
absolutely. That's where we're talking the numbers.
Yep.
That's where we're talking the numbers. We're talking 200,000 people with $100 a piece.
Yep.
They are making change. And we're about to list more shit.
And they're successful farmers.
Yeah, and they're successful farmers. None of them lost their farms.
They've got income coming in.
Yeah. They're running successful farms and they're doing a political action on the side.
Yeah, but they don't make their money by exploiting people. They have their own productive means of gaining that money. Plus they have this idea to gain additional money to further advance their political ideals.
Yes. They're economically sound plus making it better for them and everybody else. And they made it better not only for themselves, they made it better for generations. And that's where their concern was. My grandmother wasn't concerned about her own welfare as much as she was concerned about everybody's welfare. Her main concern was everybody's welfare. She wasn't a nurse at the state hospital system for her career because she wanted to see dead people during World War II.
Yep.
She didn't go into nursing so she could see people dying in France. That wasn't her goal.
Yeah.
Like, that was part of the process. It wasn't the end.
Yep.
It wasn't the end. She didn't want to see people dying in Europe.
Yep.
But she came back and she made it better. And she didn't want to be a nurse either, by the way. I remember talking to my grandmother and she did not want to be a nurse. But my grandfather, he only went to the 8th grade and he had to start traveling, and he traveled to pick fruit at 14. He was picking fruit, and then he joined the war effort as a tanker at 6 feet tall. He was a tanker, which was, you didn't want to do that.
No.
But he was smart enough to be able to operate the tank. And at the time, tank operation was technical. So they had to have people who were smart.
Yep.
So they'd take a guy who was 6 feet tall and make him a tank operator. They couldn't take a guy who was 5'6", which is what you needed, who was too stupid to operate the fucking tank. Because you had to be able to operate every bit of a tank alone in a battle to survive. Because if there's 4 guys in a tank and 3 of them die, 1 guy can operate the tank.
Yep.
And every guy in the tank needs to operate the tank alone.
Yep.
And if you're in the war for 4 years and you get some stars, which my grandfather had a box of medals, that means that everybody in your tank died at least once. Because everybody in there would die from gas. They'd die. You had to have everybody be smart. And that's the shit that they were doing on every level in every bit of society. And that's what we're missing. We're so specialized that you can't run the tank.
Yeah, we're so coddled, too.
We're coddled. We're coddled.
I've got, this is an aside for sure, and it has nothing to do with tanks, because that's not the world we live in anymore. Like, none of the stuff we do today.
It's not as extreme as seeing 3 of your buddies be dead on the ground and you're running a tank trying to kill Soviets.
Yeah, and a lot of what a lot of Americans do at the end of the day, and I'm sorry if I'm the first one to tell you this, doesn't actually fucking matter. Like, if you work in the call center, if you do what I do, it doesn't really fucking matter, because you're just enabling salespeople to sell shit that people don't really fucking need. It's a convenience thing. It's not really a life or death thing. You're not really making anyone's life any easier. You're just kind of helping Americans outsource to other Americans instead of outsourcing to India or something like that. So it's not a huge deal, but I've had 6 different managers, supervisors in 5 years. And And all of the managers have told me that they don't know what I do. They don't know how to do what I do. And yet they're my manager. And in my messed up mind, not messed up according to, Townie and company, but in my messed up mind, I have zero respect for anybody who doesn't know. If they want to be my manager, you need to know what I do. You need to know how to step in and do what I do, or you can't manage me efficiently. And when I have meetings with my manager and they tell me several times through these meetings that they don't know what I do, if they want to support me in any way they can, it's just lip service. It doesn't mean anything to me because you don't know what I do. You can't do what I do. If I take Black Friday off, and you're very concerned because I'm taking Black Friday off and you don't know how to cover what I do, that doesn't give me instant respect and admiration for you. You're some fucking plant that doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
And as an aside, and I think this is appropriate for the show, and we don't have to cut it out, but in the time that we've done the show, and longer than that, in the time that I have been very close friends with you,
yes,
you have replaced 5 other people at the company.
Yeah, at least.
Easily.
Yeah.
Alone. Without the assistance of AI. That is just through the assistance of normal levels of technology.
Yep.
And now let's say that you're about to take the next step. Theoretically, we're going to say you're about to take the next step. Not that you are, but let's just say you are.
Yes.
Now you're about to replace those 5 people plus 5 people more, potentially even a whole team of 5 people plus the top 5 people. So now you, right now, currently in your current role, you are doing the work of 5 of you 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Easily.
And
now, let's just say, theoretically, you're about to take on a new role. Not that you are. You're about to take the place of 25 of you, potentially. Potentially. With the advancement of technology that we've seen in the last 10 years, realistically, you will be doing the 25 times of the work, and you're not receiving 25 times of the pay. You're not receiving anywhere close to that. Let's just say you're receiving 10 times the pay. Let's just say, for theoretical sake, you're taking 10 times the pay, but you're doing 25s the work. Now, that extrapolate that across our whole society.
Sure.
Now we're seeing cataclysmic change. Just you are causing you've lost 25 people. Let's just say that this time next year, you're doing a new job and you're doing this new job. And you know for a fact you're doing 25 times the amount of labor that you were before. And you're getting, let's say, 10 times the pay. We're not going to, we know it's really like 3 times the pay. Let's say it's 3 or 4. Let's say 4. Realistically, let's say it's 4. That's probably true, right? You're getting 4 times the pay. You're doing 25 times the work. Now you've increased your productivity by a factor of 10. Right? This is across the whole society. And this is only amongst people who are 40. Because the people who are 20, they're coming into a situation and they're competing against you and you're doing 5 times the work you were 10 years ago.
But they can't compete. But I'm only able to do that because I have 10 plus years experience.
Right. That's what I mean. You have the experience. You're already in the market.
I'm in the industry.
Now you're getting guys who are jumping into the industry, fresh, green.
And they're going to be expected to do even more work than I'm expected to do.
Yeah. They want to hire them for more than you because you're a legacy.
Well, they want to hire them for more than me. They want to pay them more, but they expect them to do more than I do because they think somehow they're better than me because they're more recently trained, which is not true because a lot of these companies...
The opposite.
A lot of these companies operate their own little individual customized things, and they don't train that because that's hugely inefficient.
You can't take 6 months to train somebody on the computer. Because you take me for example. Whatever computer system I'm working with, let's just assume that in my job I work with very specific computer systems.
Sure.
And let's just say that they have a lot of similarities with other computer systems of similar variety. Let's say I change industries. Because I've been in the same industry for many years, general industry.
Yes.
If I were to switch industries, I would have serious advantages over somebody from school.
Yep.
But I would have a lack of understanding for specifics of the individual programs.
Yep.
However, I have an advantage over they do. Big time. Because I have all the experience of the previous system.
Yep.
If I am in the same general system, I have major advantages.
Well,
probably to the 50 factor.
Or more.
And even going into new systems related. I have 20 factor. 10 minimum. 10 minimum.
Yeah. It's if people realize, and this is the big issue in the modern job economy, which isn't really what we're talking about, but
it is
to some extent.
It is what we're talking about. Because we're talking radical change.
Yep.
These guys are existing in the World War I Industrial Revolution.
Yep.
There was a huge revolution. These guys are making major changes.
Yep.
And they did it with nothing.
Yep.
These are farmers.
Yep.
And we, like I say, by the end of the episode, we're going to end up with just the major changes the fucking Farmer Labor Party came up with in the NPL.
Yep.
And I have 18 more pages or 15 more pages left of information. This is an introductory part, and this is going to end up being a series, guys. I don't know how much you like the Somali series, but this is going to be a series.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about major changes that my people, these are my ancestors.
Yeah, which clan did they belong to, Mike?
Well, these are rural northern farmers, which is my stock. I am part of the rural landowner class.
Yep.
Forever, for hundreds of years. My people have been rural, small landholders. These are my people.
These are people who don't have a lot.
And they have a lot.
And they come in. Well, they have a lot.
They have a lot of resources.
It depends. They don't have a lot in terms of maybe money.
Raw
or
money,
whatever,
power, zero.
But they come in and they have a lot in terms of fortitude and drive and things of those
and political resources and emotional resources,
and they're able to effectively communicate with other adults, which a lot of people nowadays do not have. They are all play the victim.
Yes, I sound like a monotone person that is a fool. I understand that, but I'm telling you now, guys. If you're listening to this episode, we need changes.
We need changes.
We have to have changes. We have to have changes. We have to survive. We must.
Yep.
And in the past, our ancestors, this is a regional, rural, local podcast. I do not know how many listeners we have, but I guarantee the core of our audience are Northern European English speakers and everybody from the English-speaking world who has ancestry amongst the landholders of Northern Europe, which Nate's family is, my family is. Many of the middle class that I am talking to, our ancestors were small landholders, smart people. Smart people. Not a lot of money, but a lot of love, a lot of intellect. We can make changes. We have to. Now is the time.
Yep.
We have to do it now. And in the past, they've succeeded. And you know what?
We can succeed again.
Failure is certain. But who cares?
Yeah.
If we fail, we're all going to die anyway. We have to do it now.
Pretty much.
We have to do it now. Now is the time.
That's the thing, too, with the modern culture, modern society, is failure will end a lot of people in modern culture.
My life has been failure.
Failure is a learning experience. And what I tell my children, who are 5 and 2, when they get frustrated with something, my 5-year-old has been trying to learn how to snap her fingers.
She showed me today.
I know she showed you today.
It was impressive.
It was very impressive.
She did it with more than one finger.
She came up with her own method to do the snapping. And she's been very frustrated with that. And she's been frustrated with other things. And I said, you know what? It's okay to be frustrated. If you're frustrated, you are learning. And that's what I tell them.
Your daughter snapped with her thumb and 4 fingers of each hand.
Yes.
She can snap every finger on her thumb.
Yes, she can.
I can't do that.
I understand that.
I mean, I've never tried.
Well, that's the whole thing.
I couldn't do it right now. I can tell you that. I cannot do it right now.
I've been encouraging my children to the best of my ability to lean into the frustration and figure things out and practice. And, you know, one of the things in one of the modern shows she likes to watch, I think, is Gabby's Dollhouse. And from your and my childhood, Mike, it was Practice Makes Perfect.
Never saw it.
No. I mean, from your childhood, did people tell you Practice Makes Perfect?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the modern, the updated version of that, from what I've seen from Gabby's Dollhouse, is practice makes better, and I think that's an infinitely improved version of the original, because
devil's hands,
you're not trying to
idle hands is the devil's workshop, and I believe that is true 100%.
Yes, but you're not trying to strive for perfection. You're just trying to get better. I mean,
make it better.
Go back and listen to season 1, episode 1 of Nice Ashes, and listen to this episode. I hope to God you can tell the difference in quality.
Well, my attitude is different. I can tell you that.
Well, the attitude, but I mean, like the technical, whatever. Like episode 1 of the show should sound worse.
What I can say is that I
episode.
picked you up from the house. And I saw your daughter, who I've known her entire life, even before her. And I've known her before she was born.
Yes.
And she snapped her fingers 8 times.
I know.
And it was together. It was actually 4. She snapped her fingers 4 times, but it was with her pinky last. She did forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. She
Yep.
snapped her thumb with her fucking pinkies on both hands simultaneously. She knows.
Yeah, she's a show off. What she
No,
is.
she fucking showed off. She was flexing.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
hardcore.
damn, girl.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm in here happy that I had a fucking waxed vest that I just finished.
Yes.
Trying to keep my coffee from melting. I showed up, I was doing yard work, hey. I was doing yard work, hey. And I had my metal cup and had some snow on it.
Yeah.
And it was melting. And she helped me mitigate the melt.
Yes.
Because it was in my truck, my car, but I didn't notice that I had snow on it. And she was like, "Oh, it's melting, Uncle Mike, blah, blah, blah." I didn't even notice I had snow on that motherfucker. Yeah. So she not only was noticing that I had snow melting on my cup, she's snapping with her pinkies.
Yep.
She's snapping with her pinkies, people.
Yeah. And noticing things that you should have noticed.
And noticing that I should have noticed, like I had snow on my metal cup because I was outside. I don't even know I don't even remember doing anything outside. I must have been outside doing stuff.
Well, I know you shoveled 3 feet of snow.
I did shovel. It probably happened 3. Yeah, I shoveled some snow.
Well, here's a good, you might like this, Mike. Then this is mostly for your benefit, not for anyone else necessarily. But I'll be, editing episodes, and sometimes I try and do it while the kids are still awake a little bit if they're, running around, playing around. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she'll come over and be like, "Oh, I want to hear what you're doing." And I tell, "Oh, this is just me and Uncle Mike talking on our thing." Like some nights I tell her, like, I'm going to be out in the garage. I'm talking to Uncle Mike. She's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And she'll listen to our recorded episode as I'm editing it. And she gets the biggest like kick out of listening to you and I talk recorded, while I'm editing it. And she's like, "I want to hear Uncle Mike."
Well, yeah, your daughter is starting to put things together even at 5 years old.
Yeah, well, that's by design. I'm raising an adult. I'm not raising a child.
You're raising a functional member of society, which that's a totally different conversation.
Well,
people aren't parenting their children. Listener Chris, who was a guest on the show, his children are hyper impressive.
Yes.
He should be on here as a child raising guide.
Yeah.
Because he's got 2 daughters and a son.
Yeah.
And each one of them are impressive in their own ways.
Yeah.
And God bless you, Chris. I'm sorry that things are the way they are with some of your kids. It's not fair. Politics are politics, and
they are.
But
we could definitely do a parenting.
Dude, I'm going to do a call out right now. Chris, I know you're listening. I love you, brother. And you should send maybe, I'm sorry that things haven't worked out with all of your children. Can't work out sometimes. And that's another warning. We're talking about these successes, and we're not done yet with our episode. But these actions that we have that are successes have consequences. And sometimes they're unavoidable. And it's not in your control.
The little things you can do today might drastically change bigger things in the future.
Yeah, long term. Yeah.
But it's not.
It might take fruition.
A lot of these things are not instantaneous, which is maybe the point.
This is not public, but we're going to keep it not public. But even intelligent individuals sometimes make irrational choices. So
that is very true.
Amongst everybody who's listening.
Yes.
It's taken me my entire life to be where I'm at. And like I say, I was paying 7%, motherfuckers. Like, I don't know how else to say it.
Yep. Step up your game, Elon.
Step up your game, Elon. And I gladly paid it.
Yep.
Right? I paid 62.5% of my income to tax in 2015. 62.5% of my income went to tax in one fucking year. And you know what? It pays. I'm not even complaining.
Yeah.
I'm not even complaining. Things are good.
Yep. They could always be better, but in the grand scheme of life.
Yeah. 7.5%. Who gives a fuck? 62.5%. A little excessive. Not going to lie.
Excessive, yes.
But not bad. I'm not going to complain.
A lot of these things are kind of trade-offs, where if you pay 62.5% one year, but there's things in place for a year when you're not able to pay that, or you don't make the income to pay that.
Dude, if I have to pay 7% of my income into the state, and also we replace all the lead pipe in the ground, that benefits me tremendously
if you have
throughout
to pay
my lifetime.
Whatever percentage you have to pay, and we don't have a Flint, Michigan kind of situation on our hands.
Prevent it before
it's
it
worth
happens.
it.
Prevent it before it happens. So much better.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You can spend what, like $5,000 now to fix something in your house, or $50,000 in the future when it becomes cataclysmic.
State of Minnesota, radon mitigation is huge.
Yep.
Get your radon kits. Anything
even as simple as
anything like that.
Check your water's hardness level.
Yeah.
And put in a softener, because that affects your dishwasher. dishwasher, your coffee maker, your wash machine, your shower.
If I keep up on my water softener, my coffee filtration device, when I clean it, if I don't keep up on my water softener, I get chunks. If I keep up on it, there's nothing. Well, it's not even dirty.
And that's just the coffee machine. Think about your hot water heater. Think about
the arteries in your body.
Well, yeah, exactly. But other systems in your house.
Think about everything. Everything in society is like that. If you remove lead piping from the town you live in, let's say it costs you $3,000 as an individual to clean up the lead pipes in your town. That means that your children don't drink out of lead when they have water from the faucet in the school.
And if you're one of those red hatters, that means your neighbor's kids also don't drink out of lead, which means your tax dollars do not have to go for medical treatment for children that aren't yours in the future to treat them for lead poisoning or what have you, right? Like if you can make people healthy now for a fraction of what it would cost to keep them healthy after they become sick, is that not a win?
Right. For the guys like my friend Chris, friend of the show, been a guest. His children are adults. They're all college educated and very successful in their own ways.
Yes.
Is it better for Chris as entering the end stage of his life with his wife and his life and his children?
Are we supposed to call that the golden years, Mike? It's not the end of life.
It's not his golden years, but the end of his time on this earth.
Sure.
Is it better for him in 10 years if all the children are not drinking lead water?
I agree with you, Mike. I mean, it's that same old adage, and people sometimes get angry at old adages, but an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of whatever, right? Like, that's the whole point, is we know what is good and right. We have enough knowledge to know generally what is good and right. And generally, everyone knows lead is bad to drink out of, to eat out of. The Stanley water bottles had a thing where the knockoffs were full of lead, and that's an issue. That is an issue. Lead water pipes are an issue. That's just something that is factual. You really can't argue it. And if you can prevent the bad things from lead now, for whatever the cost is, it's only a mere tiniest fraction of what the fallout would be if you did not do it now.
The cost today is almost irrelevant from the benefit, long-term benefit. It's insane, the percentage value you get. And we're talking about Minnesota's change. Untalked about, not in the news. I know because I am personally involved. We will not talk about how, but I am personally involved with this big change. Big change, statewide. Huge change. Probably change in other places. I don't know. I'm not aware. I'm only aware of what's happening in the state in which I live. And these are the sort of dividends we need to create societally. And I know that Minnesota is unique because we have such a high voter participation. And there's a ton of people. There's thousands of people involved with these changes that I'm involved with. Thousands. But it's not on the news. It's not on the news. You're not going to hear it on the fucking news.
No.
The first you ever heard about the major projects going on statewide in our state probably happened here. We have major changes.
This is the first time I heard about it, and I live here.
We're recreating our whole infrastructure system right now, live, with modern technology. It's impressive. Like, we're talking fiber optic. This is layers and layers and layers and layers of expense. And I deal with people complaining about it every day.
Well, and it's maybe not all fully 100% attributable to the two gentlemen who met on the sleigh ride, but it's not attributable to them.
It's 100% attributed to them. Like, they are a part of a political regime that is cultural to my group, my people. We're making it better for us.
The people that make up 100% of the 75% of voter turnout.
That's right. 100% of that 75% are people like me. My people. My group. Regardless of other modern nonsense, because it's all nonsense. Like,
well, it is.
It's nonsense.
They manufacture these divides, and at the end of the day, a majority of us are all the same. We all have the same concerns. Goddamn, our groceries high. Whatever it is, right? Like, we're all pretty much the same. Sure, we might lean one way or another way on a certain thing, but a majority of Americans, let's face it, are moderates.
Realists. Moderate's the wrong term.
Moderates is the wrong term.
Realist.
But we all, I mean, a majority of Americans agree on a majority of things in terms of like the day-to-day life. Like, how do you want it to look as an American?
The major political debate of my time is already over. The gay marriage issue was the big thing.
Yep.
That was a major divide because people were against it for legitimate reasons.
Sure.
And they weren't ever legitimate. But that's over now.
Yeah, it's done.
It's done. Like, you know, we have a bunch of citizens who are paying taxes who say that they're not being treated fairly by the government.
Yeah.
That's what gay marriage was.
Well, let's make them be treated fairly.
Yeah. Let's make them
Not
treated
a big
fairly.
deal.
They're adults. Now the conversation's over.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's over. It's done.
Yep.
Who gives a shit about gay marriage? Nobody's talking about gay marriage.
Nobody cares.
I remember having arguments with people in college about gay marriage.
Yeah.
You know what's not an issue anymore? Nobody's talking about gay marriage. Nobody gives a fuck.
Not at all.
You know why? Because it was never an issue. Because the answer was obvious.
Yeah.
We had people who were suffering.
Yep.
Legally.
Yep. And
The government could change it.
A tax-paying population.
Yeah, they're taxpayer base.
Yep.
They're a percentage. They got their just deserves.
Yep.
Their just deserves was they can get married.
The important thing is their just rewards did not impede on anyone else's just rewards.
No.
That's the
Zero
biggest
effect.
thing. They're like I'm a straight person. My quality of life has not decreased because gay marriage got legalized.
My quality of life decreased only because the wedding industry got that much stronger because homosexuals had buying power in a way that changed the market by 3%, which I guess is approximately their overall adult population who's going to get married.
Sure.
So obviously,
I mean,
if I was going to bet
the
against the wedding industry, I lost 3% of my income. I'm trying to be contrarian.
I understand
on purpose.
That,
how can I put this in a negative way?
I know there are several
3%.
wedding officiants that have no problem marrying whomever.
I mean, I grew up Catholic. Catholic churches did not get affected by the legalization of gay marriage.
Nobody got affected. I mean, at the end of the day,
nobody was negatively affected.
Speaking,
nobody was negatively affected.
got negatively affected.
Nobody was negatively affected. And good government policy negatively affects no one.
No one.
No one.
So here's the thing, though, Mike, is that maybe there were a little bit fewer available Grindr accounts for the Republican Party conventions.
Yeah, Grindr didn't exist then. This is we've talked about it before, but the peak dating online existed in our lifetime, and I did not participate. You did.
Yeah.
That world doesn't exist anymore.
No,
that world doesn't exist anymore. We live in a new paradigm.
Yes. Do you have a couple
we are done with our cigar. I'm going to give our list of wins. Just so you know, I'm 6 of 22 on our notes here, dear listeners.
Oh, that's good. That's less than half of what I hoped.
This is part of an ongoing series because I'm going to propose some changes for us as a group. And we're going to start it here on the podcast. And I think the change is in our hearts. The changes is in our hearts.
Yep.
It's not a change in reality. It's
hearts
a change in
our
our minds because we have to change the way we look at things.
We do.
The people that I'm talking to largely listen to the show. So now we're going to put it out in the ether and maybe it'll gain some traction because these local rural farmer fucks, which I'm looking on a landscape very similar to what these guys looked at. I'm looking at a barren snow landscape with forest and work, but we have time now. This is winter.
Yeah.
We have time to think. We have time to ruminate. We have time to plan.
Yes.
We have time to meet and bonspiel with one another and come with some solutions. And I think that our society, our group, our little subgroup that's talking here together, communing together, we're all one. Whether you're Hasidic in Chicago, or you are a ridge runner of North Dakota, or
you have the
woodsman,
plumber's crack.
Yeah, a woodsman of St. Louis County. We all have deer hunting rifles pointed in the same direction, so to speak. Yep. So we downrange. We need to work together because we have things that we need to work together on that benefit everybody and cost no one anything. So now we're going to go with these policy achievements of the Farmer Labor Party in the state of Minnesota, which functionally ended in 36. So we had the progressive income tax in Minnesota, which we talked about. Minnesota has an independent progressive income tax. Minnesota has a Social Security tax that independently funds elderly people. This is what my grandmother benefits from. It is unique to our state. We need to nationalize these things. We got environmental conservation programs, which the state of Minnesota has an extensive state forestry program. Approximately 50% of the state is governed by the state of Minnesota under forestry programs. That includes the state parks, the state forests, the state wildlife management areas, so on and so forth. A lot of Western states has this. Minnesota is unique only because we have an independent fund that makes these things exploitable. So we have camping sites. We have access to these state areas. There are multiple access options that a lot of states lack. We got equal pay guarantees for women in the state of Minnesota back in the 1930s. These are laws that we still benefit from. We talk a lot about it on the show. We talk about it a lot nationally. But the fact is that for almost 100 years, women have been guaranteed equal pay in the state of Minnesota. We have collective bargaining rights in the state of Minnesota that are independent of the federal government. This means that labor unions and unionism and good jobs in Minnesota are higher. Minnesota is one of the highest paid states in the country. We actually are paid more similarly to Northern Europe per capita versus the rest of the country. Our GDP is higher. Our standard of living is higher. This is guaranteed in our state government. We got this passed 100 years ago. We have independent minimum wage laws. Our minimum wage is $20 an hour. If you work for the state government, it is $20 an hour. Nationally, it is $7. For tipped workers, it is $4. We are 20. We are 20. And the unemployment insurance program in Minnesota is one of the most extensive in the states. I know North Dakota, I never collected unemployment insurance from Minnesota. I collected unemployment insurance from North Dakota, but their unemployment insurance system is similar to us. You can survive on unemployment insurance. The last time that I filed, it was $1,000 a week cash. A week. $1,000 a week cash. This was 7 or 8 years ago, the last time that I had to file for unemployment. And $1,000 a week, if you can't pay your bills on $1,000 a week, you've made mistakes.
Yep.
And these are the things, those like minimum wage, unemployment insurance, equal pay, environmental programs for the state, which I covered. About 50% of our natural land mass is under state control. Yep. Social Security, independent Social Security program, and the progressive income tax. These are things that liberals are trying to nationalize. We do not have the robust conservation programs that we should have. And if you're a sportsman, if you're an outdoorsman, having access to the great outdoors is a fundamental human right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, collective bargaining is good. If you're not rich, collective bargaining is good.
Yep.
No matter how corrupt it is, you're one person.
Yeah.
You're one person. You're going to battle General Electric or 3M?
Yeah.
Good luck.
I mean, General Electric
Good luck.
made a time travel machine.
Right. Good luck.
Yeah.
These are positive things. They hurt no one. How does it hurt anybody to have money in the state coffer to pay for the forest system?
Yeah. And also, Mike, I would like to mention that Minnesota has on their books that it's illegal to be fired or terminated from your job for discussing your salary with other employees.
Yeah. It's state right.
And a lot of states don't have that.
Yeah. It's perfectly legal here.
Yep.
Also, we can record any conversation without
consent of the other party.
Without consent of the other party.
So one consent state.
One consent state. So if you're in a dispute with your employer, you can document.
Yep.
Independently
without acknowledging that it's being recorded.
Yeah. You can independently document your dispute.
Yep.
And if you don't think that's a big deal, get into a dispute with your employer.
Yeah. Just go ask them why it's a pizza party and not a raise.
Yeah. Get into a dispute with your employer and tell me why it's not important.
Yeah.
It hurts no one.
It hurts no one. It's keeping people honest.
It's keeping people honest. And if you're in a rural state like Wyoming, I'm thinking Wyoming, not North Dakota so much, but Wyoming.
Sure, yeah.
Like, imagine if you had 7% of your income going to managing your state resources. We have, in our state forest, you have free camping everywhere. We have a major metropolitan city, major metropolitan area. And those assholes in that major metropolitan area can go camping for fucking free. in a forest, a dangerous, dark, evil forest, like old-timey.
Yeah, full of communists.
Well, they are full of like people like me are radicals. There are a lot of woodsmen out there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of woodsmen out there. And you're not hearing them on my podcast, but I can tell you, there's a lot of woodsmen out there.
Yep.
And they're using AI. These are educated woodsmen.
Yep.
They're running chainsaws and fucking ChatGPT.
Yep.
Okay? These are not normal people. Not normal 25 years ago. If you're an educated person and you live in the North Woods, you're an independent thinker right now.
You have to be.
You have to be to thrive and survive.
Yep.
And we need to lean on our resources, gentlemen. We have all the resources we need. We do. That's what I'm trying to get across. These guys, our ancestors, 100 years ago, got changed.
Yep.
And we can do the same. And we need that. Now is the time.
Yep.
Now is the time. Yesterday was yesterday. Today is today.
Yep.
Now is the time.
And tomorrow we'll suck dick, and not in the good way, unless we can do something today.
It's not going to be great.
Yeah.
It's not going to be great. We gotta put down the Guinness and put up the pitchfork.
Yeah.
I mean,
torches, pitchforks, what have you.
We got to change things for the better. We're doing good things. But we gotta exploit.
I mean, the thing is a lot of the baby boomers are dying off, and it's our generation's turn soon to be. And a lot of us have been groomed by the older generation, by the news media, by the politicians, by the wealthy to be apathetic. And if we want things to continue as they are, we can certainly be apathetic and things will continue to get worse and worse and worse. But if we can put aside some of that apathy and put aside some of the differences that they try to drive into us, I don't care what football team you cheer for, we can work together and make some changes here. So we can do it. It can be done.
It has to be done. Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Things are good. Things are good.
But they could be better.
They need to be better.
They need to be better. So we both put our cigars out as a drastic tone shift.
Yeah,
we
drastic
have to
tone shift.
rate the cigar.
Have to rate the cigar. I'm going to put it as a 4.
Okay.
I think it's good. Very good. Hard for me to judge.
Yeah, I'm going to do, you know what, I'm going to do a 3.5. It's good. It was good. It was solid throughout. It was dark throughout. I'm trying to get to think about, like the V660 that we like so much.
That's a 5. Yeah, that's a 5.
That's a 5.
Yeah.
And this one was very, very good.
Very good, but not. It didn't distract from conversation.
It didn't.
However,
it really didn't.
It's better than an average cigar.
It is.
This is a good
better
cigar.
Than an average cigar. I enjoyed it. I liked it.
I would smoke another one right now.
Yeah.
Immediately, I would smoke another one.
Yeah.
No issue.
Yeah. Well,
definitely
and you
worth
have 20-some pages left of notes, so you could smoke another cigar. And
Yeah, we could do 14 more pages of these specifics.
Yeah.
Most of them are just hyper focusing on detail.
Yeah.
So we covered the general. I have all the details if you guys need them. If you think I'm a liar and you don't want to go, I don't know, look it up yourself.
Yep.
Which you should all do.
Well,
history. This is our history.
This
is our history.
Yeah.
These are our people.
These are the things that we're told not to celebrate because it is somehow white privilege.
We can't look at this. These guys are just drinking beers, farming, getting shit done.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Midnight at the crossroads in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
That's what they're not doing. They're not meeting at the crossroads in North Dakota. That's what they're not doing. We don't do that.
Not anymore.
Well, I think they still do.
There's like one crossroads in
I think
North
the
Dakota.
Posse Comitatus need to get on top of this. Michigan militia need to get on top of this. You guys need to stop being a bunch of racist pricks and start getting change done.
Yep.
Just saying. Not that we have any Michigan militias or Posse Comitatus who are listening. Wink, wink.
Potentially. I don't control who listens. I just control what we hear at the end of the day.
All I know is who's listening that I have been told about.
Yeah.
And I know they're part of interesting organization.
Indeed.
So, I mean, I'm just trying to reach out to some people that may or may not be listening.
Yes. Well, whether you are or not listening, thank you for listening or not listening. And we'll catch you next week.
If it feels good, do it. Be safe.